Hello and welcome to our series about collaborative procurement in construction projects. These sessions are led by Ed Burton, a Director in Buildings and Places, an Advisory Services Lead in Infrastructure at AECOM, and Tom Douglas, a Construction and Engineering Partner at Eversheds Sutherland, who have co-produced a practical guide to collaborative procurement with the intention of having an easily digestive toolkit for those who are looking to explore new ways of contracting. In this episode, Ed and Tom are joined by Steffen Jung, who is a partner at Eversheds Sutherland in Munich, where he heads the construction practice group. Steffen focuses on advising German and foreign clients, such as investors, building contractors, construction firms, architects and engineers, on all aspects of private and public construction and real estate law. Together, they share their insights from Germany and new methods of contracting, including collaborative procurement.
So hi Ed, it's good to see you again.
Hi Tom. Yeah, likewise. How have you been since we last spoke?
All good, thank you. Yeah, lots going on, but it's good to be back. And here we are again, our next series of podcasts. We're looking at collaborative procurement and construction, collaborative procurement and contracting again. It's been a while since we've had our last series of podcasts, and it's fair to say there's been quite a lot going on in the industry. I saw recently that FIDIC are looking at publishing their collaborative form of contract in the near future as well. So maybe a little bit more coming on the international perspective. And I think that's what we're going to be looking at with this next couple of podcasts, having a look at what's going on from an international perspective, considering a few jurisdictions, and grateful to be joined by some of our international colleagues to talk about what they see. And on that note, I'm very pleased to say that we are joined today by my colleague, Steffen Jung, who's a senior partner from our office in Munich. Welcome, Steffen.
Yeah, hi, Tom. Hi, Ed. Very pleased being all with you here in this podcast.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for sparing the time, and we're looking forward to hearing a little bit about what's going on with your clients over in Germany.
Good to see you, Stefan. I wonder if you'd just kick us off to provide a bit of context, bit of baseline as to what the traditional approach to procuring and delivering projects in Germany has been.
Yeah, look at historically and up to now in German construction market, employers normally prepare the planning and the performance specification for the project up to at least the concept, or let's say design planning, and up to the approval planning. Sometimes this also applies with regard to the execution planning, which also often is provided by the employer. And based on his planning, then the employer then also provides the specification of the performances. In many cases, the planning of the employer is not finished when construction contract is awarded, and especially the execution planning sometimes is provided step by step after the construction contract has been awarded. So regarding this practice, you can imagine that the contractor normally is not involved in the planning of the project before the construction contract is awarded, and being provided with the execution planning at the same time when construction works are executed causes a lot of frictions and disruptions, leading in claims for additional time and costs. Another issue is that as far as public projects are concerned in Germany, and I assume that's the same with you in the UK, normally the bidder with the lowest price is awarded with the contract. Both parties of the contract are often aware of the fact that the price then is not sufficient for the contractor, and the contractor knows that he cannot provide the service in accordance with the contract at the agreed price. This situation then automatically leads to confrontation during the project. So let's say in a resume, due to insufficient and incomplete planning and economically unrealistic contractual promises, each party tries to achieve then only their own contractual objectives. This is normally done at the expense of the other contractual partner, and this is often to be the detriment of the project goals. So that's why German projects are struggling a lot with regard to time and costs.
Some familiar themes there, Ed, I think, isn't there?
I was just going to jump in, Stefan. So from a design perspective, are you saying that it's typical for the construction contract to include detailed design as well as construction, or is that typically held by the client as well?
That depends a little bit on what is constructed. If you look at, for example, technical, very complicated construction works like bridges, motorway bridges, then it's normal. Also now in Germany that the contractor does the execution design, execution planning, and that he's only provided with a draft design or an approval design. But this depends from project to project. If you look at housing, for example, it's other way around. So there are two forms of doing the planning in the projects. Both is common and usual here.
Understood. We're doing a lot of work in the Irish market at the moment and see very similar. There's some projects that we delivered under what we call a traditional delivery model, which is client design all the way, and then appoint a contractor to do execution only, and others which are more typical design and build, but similar to I think what we're going to come on to in the German market. I think in Ireland we're also seeing a move to more collaborative models.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah,
I know, Stefan, we've been working together to look at some of those more collaborative models with some of your large infrastructure clients, and it would be really interesting to hear a bit more about why it is that your clients in Germany have been looking at new models of contracting.
Here, the core motivation, Tom, may be that due to the reasons just mentioned before, numerous projects in Germany dramatically fail to meet their cost and time schedule targets. This is caused, among other things, by, as I said, insufficient project specifications, insufficient planning, insufficient pricing, and therefore from the beginning by conflicting interests of both parties. Irrespective of this, it is noticeable that often immediately after the conclusion of a construction contract for large infrastructure projects, the contractor submits proposals for fundamental changes to the construction work and the construction process. For example, the contractor proposes to build a stretch of motorway not from start to finish in a single line, but in several sections built simultaneously. Or if you look on bridges, the contractor proposes optimizations for the steel construction of a large motorway bridge that depend on his manufacturing technology and that the client therefore did not consider in the contract tender. These changes, which can be quite substantial, can not only subsequently distort the award competition, but also can have impact on the management of the project, the coordination of several companies working on the project together, etc. And therefore, it would be desirable from the perspective of our client to get such proposals in a very early planning stage of the project. So this is one of the very important reasons why they are keen to do something like this early contractor involvement. This is why they try to incorporate the contractor's know-how not only for technical solutions, but also for the construction's processes into their own project planning at a very early stage. And therefore, clients are more and more interested in such models, which you call early contractor involvement or two-stage contracting.
Yeah, and it was really interesting when I came over with you to Germany to speak to one of your clients about two-stage contracting and early contractor involvement to hear a bit more about those challenges and explain what we've been doing over here in the UK for some time. As we said, there's that early involvement by the contractor to help with some of that challenge of getting the input from the construction team at an early point in time to allow you to build in the benefits of their experience and expertise, and looking down their supply chain as well and how they might be procuring the project has been invaluable in a number of very large projects, and it is something that we do quite frequently in the UK infrastructure market and other sort of markets in the UK. So it is something we're very familiar with, and it was really good to come and to speak to you and your clients about that. I'm thinking about how they can try and make it work for you over in Germany, which I appreciate is still somewhat of a challenge. And also we were looking at the public procurement regulations, obviously being one of the points we need to think about when dealing with public sector infrastructure projects in particular, and some of the challenges around the two-stage model with that.
I think it all sounds very familiar, Tom, doesn't
Does.
it, from what we've discussed previously? I think a lot of it comes back to complexity. All clients obviously want on time, on budget, on quality, right? But that is becoming increasingly challenging because of the complexity of projects, whether that's the scope, the scale of them, the context and the constraints within which they're being delivered. And I think what we've identified is that where there's greater complexity, the more collaborative, the earlier you involve key members of the supply chain into the decision making, you've got a higher chance of achieving the downstream benefits that you're looking to achieve in terms of time, cost, and quality.
Absolutely.
Steffen, we've obviously just touched on their sort of looking at early contractor involvement and two-stage contracting and some of the reasons for that, but just talk a little bit more around some of the benefits that you think the clients might be looking to achieve through moving to these models.
As I said, it's not only the search for greater cost and time certainty, but it's also the attempt to better implement the interests of both contractual parties in the construction contract. And yeah, it is about developing a higher motivation for the project partners to find solutions in partnership and to avoid legal disputes. This is an overall goal I think they are trying to achieve. And yeah, the way to get there leads back to the performance description one of our client told us. In particular, it's their aim to improve the performance description by working together with the contractor in the very early stage of the project, because defective tender documents lead to a higher potential for supplements, for additional costs and time, as we all know. And therefore, the wish is to utilize the know-how and specific competence of the construction contractor at an early stage before awarding the construction contract.
Steffen, I was just going to ask, is Germany a particularly litigious country? Do we see a lot of construction projects end up in a formal dispute process?
Yeah, definitely yes. And this may also one of the reasons why parties look for alternative contract models. And yeah, I tried to explain the reasons why this happens, and yeah, we have to say that litigation is the worst thing which can happen in Germany. You face lawsuits in construction for about 10-15 years in the first instance. And normally you don't get a decision from the court, and parties are used normally to go to state courts here, not doing arbitration or things like adjudication or other alternative dispute resolutions. So parties normally go, especially public employers, go to state courts, and there, as I said, you nearly don't get a decision from the court. So that's a situation the parties more and more try to avoid, because you will end in the nirvana if you go there. And that's why they are developing and searching for these, yeah, let's say, modern contract models.
I think one of the really good things that we could offer the clients, being an international practice, is that experience that we've seen in other jurisdictions, to see if there are ways that we can work with you and your clients, and equally how we can benefit from your experience in working with our clients. So I think it was really great to work together on this project with you, and also sort of show how we can demonstrate that joined up way of working and thinking and be more collaborative ourselves. So I thought it might be useful to understand what it was that you were looking for when you came to speak to me about the collaborative models and the way we can work with your clients on infrastructure projects.
Yeah, see, Tom, from our perspective here in Germany, the Anglo-Saxon construction market and especially the UK market is really ahead of Germany with regard to the development and application of new methods of contracting. So as an international law firm, for us, it's really very, very good situation that we can rely on your experience. and that we also can offer your experience to our clients here in Germany, and give them a flavor of what you are doing for a long time in the UK. And this not only applies with regard to collaborative contracting, but also if you look at BIM, for example, or if you look at alternative dispute resolution, these all are fields where, from my perspective, the UK market is just ahead of Germany, and so it's very useful to have input from your side there. Therefore, we advise together with you a large infrastructure employer, maybe one of the largest here in Germany, about the different models which are used in the UK. You could tell them which experience we made so far in the UK with these models, which procurement problems you face, and how you resolve them. So this was really I think very interesting and very helpful to deliver this international perspective on this issue. And on the contractor side, we share these experiences with construction companies to also get them familiar with these models.
Yeah, because I think they'll increasingly see some of these models. If they're doing business outside of Germany, they will come across them more and more. So yeah, one of the things we've been looking at doing is trying to make people more familiar with the different approaches to collaborative contracting, collaborative procurement across, as we said in our guide, the sort of range of different levels of collaboration, from two-stage contracting and frameworks that we were talking about, Steffen, all the way through to the sort of alliance and enterprise models right at the end. So yeah, it's really great that we can speak to some of these clients around what we see, what the models look like, so that they are at least armed with that knowledge and information when they're going out to different markets and exploring what they can do in infrastructure projects internationally.
Yeah,
I think one of the advantages of global experience, and which all clients look for, is that you understand some of the lessons learned from these new models and don't fall foul to the same challenges. I was on a call this week looking at a major rail program in Hong Kong, which is looking to be delivered under a collaborative model. Hong Kong uses the NEC contract, so it's moving to a more collaborative approach, but actually heavily amend them in general. There's heavy amendments put in, lots of Z clauses to try and bring the NEC back closer to the traditional contracting form. It's not dissimilar, I think, to what we experienced in the UK when the NEC was first formed, where there was a bit of first started to be used with a bit of suspicion around it, and lots of Z clauses went in, which we see a lot less of now. I think there's an understanding, there's a trust that the sort of proactive project management approach within NEC really works. So yeah, there's definitely that learning is important to make sure that the implementation of some of these models is really smooth.
It's familiarity, isn't it? Getting to used to these models and how they work and trusting them. And it's only after you've used them for a while and got familiar with how it works and how to make it work best that you're going to get the most out of them. And as we said in our guide as well, it's the buy-in from everyone involved, so that you're not treating a collaborative model like a traditional model and trying to apply the same logic and approach. It's just never going to work. So it's really interesting to see how these markets who are less familiar with some of the contract forms, like you say, NEC, are sort of still on that journey. And as you said, how we can use the experience that we've had in going through that transition to help them to get more familiar with the forms and the models and how they make them work best to deliver those beneficial outcomes. And it'd be really interesting to hear actually a little bit, Steffen, about what the outcome so far has been on the matters that we're working on.
Yeah, I can't go too much in the detail with regard to that, but I can tell you that Tom, our clients are keen to develop and create forms of early contractor involvement at the moment, and to find solutions which are not only practicable but also are in accordance with German procurement law. They are working hard on this especially on the public employer side, as far as I'm aware at the moment. And I think we are on the journey now, and this is a train which will not stop. This is an ongoing process at the moment, and always happy to get additional input from your side there, because as I said, and as you pointed out just before, it's also a question of trust that these models are good, that they work, and that there is a practice with these models, and that it's not only a theoretical thing.
I mean, it's great to hear, Stefan. I think what you're saying is that the train has started moving, and there's going to be a real shift, or there's a high level of interest within the German market to move to more collaborative models. Can you see that being a real shift?
Yes, definitely. I think the big infrastructure employers in Germany for motorway and railway are in close contact at the moment with the relevant associations of construction companies in Germany. They are in dialogue with them about these contract models, and there is not only a lot of theoretical exchange of ideas and experience, but also there is the will to develop and to execute pilot projects together, just to look how it works, and where are the points where you can approve some models, some drafted models. So that's really an ongoing thing at the moment. And due to the points, as just mentioned, not only the employers, but also the construction companies and their relevant associations are very, very interested in developing and participating in new partnership models and in these pilot projects.
So it sounds like there's a market for them then.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. So more for us to do in the future, I hope.
Yeah. Unavoidable.
I enjoyed my trip to come and see you over in Germany. It was a fantastic time. So yeah, always happy to come back and do another trip.
And I did also.
Well, thank you very much. That was a really interesting discussion. I really enjoyed sort of hearing a bit more about what's been happening in Germany, and it's great to know that there is a market and that people are really engaging with the different models and ideas, and it's not something that's just, as you say, theoretical anymore. It's being put into practice with some pilot projects and some real world experience. So thank you. Really great to hear your thoughts on that.
Thank you.
Tom, Stefan, great discussion. I think the onus on us, particularly in the UK market, where collaborative procurement is more, collaborative models is more established, is really to share lessons learned and best practice. I think it's great, the story that you've told, Stefan, and the fact that we've got a client in the market in Germany looking at moving to this, but it does take a leap of faith. It takes trust to move to do something different. And I think the stories and the insight that we can bring, and if that's through connecting UK clients with German clients, then that's the sort of thing we should be looking to do to give them confidence to move and move into using new models. But good discussion.
Yeah, thank you both. And just to say, it's not only the legal side, and but it's also the project management side, which is very interesting in this field, and where clients, employers as well as contractors are interested, and so it's very helpful to be in exchange also with you there.
Well, thank you both. A fantastic discussion. And Stefan, I think you're over in the UK at some point soon, so we will see you in person again very soon, we hope.
Very looking forward, Tom, and thank you both for the invitation.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you would like a copy of our practical guide to collaborative procurement in construction projects, please use the link in the show notes to download it. For more information, please reach out to Tom Douglas or Ed Burton.